Namaste everyone, this is Ravi and today we are with Emma, the professor of communication in a university as well as the yoga member of Jal Yoga. And welcome Emma for coming in this our podcast, the first time yoga talks with you. Okay, so tell me something about you, how you live in a yoga, how you like yoga and how you initiated the yoga. Lot of questions but you can answer anyone.
I started practicing yoga regularly, probably about 5 or 6 years before COVID. I felt like I needed something to challenge myself and, of course, improve flexibility, improve strength, but also to find that mind-body connection.
Wow, mind-body.
Peace.
So, a lot of people have a different perception about yoga. Some people think that yoga is about the physical body, yoga is about the spiritual body, yoga is about breathing. What's your perception about the yoga?
Yoga is everything that you just mentioned. I mean, of course, it is about doing postures, but it's also, to do postures, you need strength and flexibility. But in order to do that, you also need concentration, you need to focus on what you're doing. You also need to think about your breathing in order to get into the poses. So there's a lot of different aspects to yoga. It's really not just exercise.
So, what the greatest thing you like in a yoga?
That's quite a difficult question to answer. The greatest, I suppose it's with any practice that you do, it's the small improvements that you see, that you have also a sense of satisfaction. That's one thing. But also the sense of calmness after doing some classes. You kind of feel a bit more relaxed than at the beginning of the session.
Wow, that's a great thing. Also, same thing I feel after session, but before session, very flicking.
Yeah.
Okay, so in your class, whenever you're practicing yoga, whenever you see that, we create a lot of unions. And the meaning of yoga, that is a union, that creating connection, adding the person, and creating the good environment and good vibe with the other person as well. So it means swa, that means self, changing yourself and also others. So what do you think about, is it really like wordful when we say we are changing ourselves and also changing others with the yoga?
We're definitely changing ourselves because, number one, we challenge ourselves to do things that maybe we think we can't do physically. But secondly, when you're in a group class, you also challenge your own ego because, yoga actually is an individual practice. But when you're in a group setting, you have to be very aware that you're not just comparing to the person next to you. So it's, you're challenging yourself, but also thinking about how that you're not distracted by other people.
That's good thing. But along with that, do you have any kind of thinking about that? Group helps to make your practice higher or not?
There's also that sense of community and encouragement in some classes. I wouldn't say all of the classes I do, but the classes where I know other people there a bit better, you know who I'm talking about.
Yes.
You kind of have a sense of camaraderie almost. So it's also, you can kind of push each other or encourage each other as well and help each other out if there's an opportunity.
Do you find fun in a yoga?
Yeah, of course. There's no point doing something if there's no fun in it.
So what is the difference between the fun in a yoga and the normal strictness in a yoga? So which approach and what approach should you, or would you think that it should be in a yoga? Strictness?
You need strictness in terms of discipline, in terms of practicing regularly. But at the same time, you need fun, you need to enjoy things and not take yourself too seriously. Like if you can't do something, it's really not the end of the world. And sometimes it's quite funny when you realise, or you fall, or something like that happens. You know, it's
Yes.
we should just laugh rather than be upset about it.
And I also know that you already like have completed the course of yoga TTC.
I did quite a few years ago.
So you know that there is a yoga therapy in the yoga TTC course.
Yes, I mean we did touch on it, but I think yoga therapy is that's another
Full,
level.
yes.
I think the TTC that is done here
Mm.
is very surface level. I mean, what can you do in 200 hours? It's really not a lot.
So it's all like a long-term journey. You need to just practice. It's not just completed into
Yes. Yeah, I mean, for me, the reason why I did it was just to deepen my knowledge more. But, realistically, like I said, in 200 hours, I mean, you've spent how long studying yoga?
If I say from my master perspective, 2 years approximate,
Yeah.
and since childhood practicing.
I mean, 200 hours is really very surface level. I mean, it's good.
It's like just touching and getting into it.
Yes. It just gives everyone I think a broader understanding of yoga. I think people should do it, but maybe it shouldn't be called TTC because it's misleading. I think
Instructor training course.
Yeah.
Is it so?
No, I would say it's more about learning about yoga,
Yeah.
not teaching yoga, which is different.
Nice approach.
Teaching and doing is not the same thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because also I'm thinking that we created a lot of teachers, but when we talk about the real teacher, person knows a couple of group and protocols of the posture, but they don't know that how this posture come in existence and what's the name of this posture, how this posture related with the nature. Because in a yoga, when we use the concept of asana, mainly people use that because it's physically visible, and it's a first approach to like get connect with the people, because you can give the physical practice, then people think about the breathing practice, then they reach to the mental and like meditation practices. So which I'm thinking that my perspective, people practice a lot of postures, but they don't know that how this posture related with the nature. So do you think same, or like you think that this posture should be something else which we are lacking, like we always correcting our alignment and little bit adjustments of ourselves. So what do you think about this? The adjustments and these things should be happen just for like creating the one posture, like for Instagram you told several times, or like it should be happen just as traditionally.
I mean, I guess for me personally, I like to understand why we need to do certain things, what muscles we need to be stretching or feeling more of, and how to do the posture correctly, but also the benefits of the posture. But I think realistically, in not just in Singapore, generally in a lot of places, people are doing yoga just for exercise and just to do the poses rather than thinking about the benefits.
That's great. We talk about Singapore. So let's connect this next question with Singapore with the Western world. So what do you think about the yoga approach in Singapore and Western world, or if I say the Asian countries and Western world?
I mean, I've only ever practiced yoga in Singapore mostly regularly, and I have done classes in the UK. So, of course, in Singapore with teachers like yourself, you bring another level of knowledge of the history and the benefits, the physical and mental benefits. Some of the classes I've done overseas in the UK are a little bit more focused on the posture rather than any explanation of the benefits of that pose.
So there's a one question always rising. Some teachers says counting should be good in a classes whenever you're doing postures. Some teachers say you're doing very well postures, no need to count. Some teachers says we cannot explain all the things in a one class. Some teachers says we explain but little bit. What do you think about that? Can it be possible when we compile all the things together in a one class?
I think so. I mean, it depends how quickly you go through poses, right? I think there's There should be, I mean, you need enough instruction for people to get into the pose correctly. And then if we're holding the poses for 30 seconds, 1 minute, that's also should be enough time to give some explanation as well.
Wow.
So rather than just rushing through like 20 poses, we could do 10, but at least do them properly.
Then do less but do best.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes, exactly.
What do you think about the yoga philosophy?
In terms of the...
In terms of yoga, in terms of anything, because normally people do understand that yoga as a traditional, which is related to the India. Is it? See?
Yes, I think most people think of yoga as coming from India, but also a lot of people think of yoga in terms of, oh, people just do funny poses and do lots of meditation. But I mean, it's not. It's kind of also a way of being, because yoga is also about being mindful, about being present. So there's lots of things that we learn in yoga that can also help us with our daily lives.
Oh, that's a great approach, because when I came to the Singapore, I have a lot of questions in my mind. What kind of a yoga approach I need to initiate with that? I heard from a lot of teachers, they say people willing to have here the stress relief. But I said, what kind of stress relief? Physical body, mental body? Then I get to know that they initiated and fully focus on the physical body, which currently I can correlate with you, the same thing. So what I understand that there is a little bit lacking, the communication bridge between the breathe and the posture. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, but I think it's because some teachers don't focus so much on the breathing, and they just focus on the posture. And then, like I said, sometimes it could be a case of we need to move to the next posture. So there's also not enough, they don't spend enough time explaining. Even a simple sun salutation, sometimes teachers are not repeating the inhale, exhale, like the different...
That's a good question. So do you like sun salutation?
I do. I like it.
Really? How many rounds you can do that?
Recently I tried to do the challenge, but I got up to about 50.
50?
Yes.
That's really great. The half century. Don't worry. One day you can do 200 rounds. So along with that, because you asked very good question and also very good answer with that explanation, because that one of the breathing. What do you think about that? What should be in an ideal class or the ideal yoga? I start with the class because yoga is very vast. So ideal class should be like that. What should be the ideal class?
As in how it should be conducted.
Yep.
I mean, for me personally, maybe it's not for everyone, is of course very clear instructions and just also repeating things.
Okay, I'm noting that, so that next time I will give this class like that.
But repeating and reminding people. So I think as a teacher, you probably think, oh, I don't want to repeat things too often.
Yes.
But from a student's perspective, our minds are not always here, and we might wander off in the middle of doing a pose. So repeating certain instructions and also reminding people about breathing. I think we forget to breathe quite often.
That's really great, because this thing we never focus. We focus on the repetition of postures.
People forget to breathe all the time,
But
myself included.
That's good.
And I really like explanations of the benefits of certain poses.
Certain poses.
Well, as in there are some poses that are good for digestion or thyroid, etc. So it's good to learn about that.
How you can connect to yoga and daily lifestyle? Because we do a lot of practices like hatha, vinyasa, infra, yin, therapy, and then people bring some new yoga types like rocket yoga, beer yoga. There are a lot of names. Puppy yoga. Good marketing, but you can do that. So along with that, apart of that, what do you think that? How?
For those types of yoga?
How you can apply, not yoga, not that type of yoga. I'm asking the real yoga, how you can behavioral apply yoga in your lifestyle.
Again, I think one thing is breathing. I think even in daily life, we probably don't just take a moment to take a breath. So breathing, being a bit more present, thinking about what we're doing. And especially people that work in offices, of course, thinking about their posture, how do they sit when they're working.
That's good actually, because this is a common issue which I've seen with a lot of people. The doctor gave a one person went to the therapist, and the therapist asked to do the person do 10 counts whenever you get angry. Okay, whenever you feel anger. The same thing is the breathing, which we are teaching in a pranayama, but people on that time never do. But when they go for the therapist, then they do.
Yes.
Because therapists ask a lot of, that everything about the therapist and these things. That's good actually. Yoga should be what we say, passed to one person to another person. Form doesn't matter, but it should be appropriate with the way. So the breathing which you told me. So what do you think that how you can connect the breathing concept with the teenagers? Because you're always dealing with a lot of teenagers.
I think one thing that, and I have shared this with some of my family as well, is that if they're feeling anxious or stressed, or maybe before an exam, is just to take some deep breaths before competitions and things. Is to just inhale, exhale a few times. My students, before they do presentations, I also remind them to breathe before they start. Because in those situations they're also very tense and very stressed. So it just helps to relax your whole body when you breathe.
That's a good thing.
I mean, it's simple and it's something everyone can do, and it only takes a few seconds, but it's also very effective.
So normally we already passed the teenage. You told you already several years ago. So we all know that what kind of anxiety, what kind of hormone fluctuations we have on that time. So right now I'm get to know that what kind of things we need to do on that time as per the yoga. But as a normal perception, what do you think that how the normal person can control if they don't know yoga, but they know something like behavioral pattern to their teenagers, children? As a teacher, you are controlling that. Okay, as a student to others, and also as an instructor, I am controlling my members on that. So, how you think that we should control or regulate them?
I mean, again, it's about teaching them. It's a very complicated question, actually. Again, I think it comes back to mindfulness and about, again, being present. It's about thinking about how they're feeling and then also what's happening in their body when they're feeling certain things, like with anxiety or stress. You sometimes feel it in your stomach. So it's just really a lot more self-awareness, because I think a lot of us are not self-aware. So when I say self-aware, it could be your posture, your body language, how your voice changes, how whether you make eye contact with someone or not. So, to self-regulation requires effort, a conscious effort every day.
Great.
But if you don't have the awareness, you need the awareness first in order to make any changes.
So we talk about this first change. What kind of changes you think should be in nowadays yoga? Not I'm talking about it, because real yoga is not real yoga company. Real yoga is something else in that we cannot see any dilution. It's pure. But whatever nowadays in market, what do you think that? What kind of changes it should be these changes should be here, these changes should be there?
In Singapore in particular?
Specifically, let's take Singapore.
I think the challenge in Singapore, of course, is that yoga studios need to make money.
Yeah.
So I think because of that, then yoga, of course, becomes a bit more diluted because you have you try to get more people in the studio, you need to get more members. You know, classes can be really full and packed, which also means that people are not ever going to get any individual adjustments. So it kind of goes back to the question really is, why does someone set up a yoga studio? What is their purpose? Is their purpose to make money, or is it to enhance people's lives? So I'm guessing that there's yoga studios that pop up everywhere, and they've popped up for different reasons. So it's got to come from whoever has set up the studio first. They're the ones that are going to initiate what kind of a practice it is.
So the aim of the initiator should be remain until the end. Is it so?
I believe so, but I mean, I understand that certain economic factors may change people.
Like that. But
I mean, it could be economic external factors that change people, or it could also be greed that changes people. People suddenly say, oh, wow, I've made this amount of money, maybe I can make a bit more, maybe I can make a bit more. It's that chasing after.
So true the word. Really great. So we talk about like these are like misconceptions and like some what we say some malfunctioning or like malfunctioning of my music, like mal-operated or like operations are going on in yoga. Also, some good things are also happening in yoga nowadays. So what do you think, like what kind of good things are happening surrounding to you in a yoga? What do you think?
I think more people are aware of yoga and the benefits. So even if maybe we might think that there's a lot of commercial studios, at least it's good that it's reaching more people. So it's a lot more accessible than it was. So even if people don't fully immerse themselves in a holistic yoga practice, even if they come and just do some postures, I guess it's better than doing nothing. So I would say it's a lot more accessible, and it's not deemed to be it's also not necessarily a young person activity. I think a lot of the times people might be put off with, I can't do this, I can't do that, but it's more accessible to people of all ages and all genders. It's men and women can do it equally.
That's great thing, because you think about this kind of a long vision. It's really great. So everything have some vision in a future also. So what do you think, like it's a like common question, where you see in a 5 years? So where you see the yoga in upcoming 5 years?
In 5 years,
What kind of changes?
I think because of what is happening in the world in general, like a lot of difficulties in lots of countries, I think people perhaps in the future would be looking for more stress relief. I mean, there's a lot of discussion in Singapore about mental health, etc. So I would like to think in moving forward that more people will access yoga practice, and it will become a much more normal thing for people to do, rather than just going to the gym. It's I'll go into a yoga class. So I'd say I think it's definitely been more accessible in the last few years in Singapore. Look at the number of yoga studios around. So I would like to think that people would treat it as a way to de-stress.
That's a great, because it's a common vision which I see, and I'm also thinking like that, because a lot of people nowadays have a lot of issues related to the stress. And specifically if I talk here, a lot of people working table job. They're working on laptops and all the time, and the social media. We are doing same thing, but the thing is that we are sitting comfortably and we talk about that. But we also do practice, not just we are talking. So this is a common difference between them and us. So we are trying a little bit like message to the society, and as well as we are creating the awareness within the people and among the people, so that they can do more practices day by day and improve their health. Thank you, Emma, for coming today with us. Thank you.
Thank you very
See you
much
next
for
time.
inviting me.
Thank you.